Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Shamika Rhymes, and you know this is Soulibration, y'all. Can you believe it's been 1 year? Actually, it's 1 year tomorrow, but today we're going to celebrate 1 year of Soulibration. So we're having a celebration. That's hard to say, but that's what we're doing today. So let me know in the chat where you are watching from and how you're doing this evening. I am so excited about tonight's show. Remember to also share this with your network. And if you have any questions at all tonight, drop it in the chat because you guys know you're the co host. So, tonight, like I said, is really special. It's the 1 year anniversary. And I wanted to take a moment to just thank you all for tuning in and being so transparent in the comments and asking some amazing questions and just being awesome co hosts. And I hope that this show continues to feed your soul. So, with that said, tonight, one of my friends and faves, and actually you guys were asking for her to come back. Erika Coach Nikki Shorty is joining us to talk about what happens after you create this vision board. Because you may remember back in January, she was here on the show talking about creating that vision. And she gave me some homework because of y'all. I have a confession about that homework, but we'll get back to that later. But yes, we created vision boards in January. And I see Gastonia checking in, Asheville, Charlotte, I see y'all. And, now that you've visualized the life you want, you put it on this vision board. Now what? What do you do with it? So Erika's here to talk about what we can do to turn those dreams into reality. She's going to walk us through the next steps, how to align your habits with your goals, what to do when that vision kind of starts to get hazy and starts to fade away, and how to stay on track even when life starts to shift. So whether your board is full of career moves, love, healing, personal growth, you want to stay tuned because you want to be able to put that action behind your vision. And I'm going to give you a second to run and go get your vision board because I want you guys to have it in your hand while we're doing this. I have mine, so go get yours. So let me tell you a little bit about Erika. Erika Coach Nikki Shorty is a dynamic life coach, career coach, entrepreneur, and visionary who is passionate about helping individuals design the lives they desire. She's the founder and CEO of Her Life Coaching LLC. So let's bring Coach Nikki Shorty on. I guess she's coming in a second, y'all. Hold on. While y'all go get your vision boards.
Celebration!
Yeah!
Happy 1 year!
Thank you so much. And I am so glad that you're here because, I have used the vision board to manifest a couple things. And
I have seen.
yeah, so that people know what I'm talking about. I think it was a couple weeks ago, Donnell Turner from General Hospital was here. And I had to give Erika her props for that one because, I want y'all to see this vision board. I'm going to fold it a little bit here. But anyway, it says GH right there. Oh, right here. I can't get it. But General Hospital. I was serious about that thing. And Donnell came. Y'all heard that man call me adorable. That man came and gave life. So thank you, Erika.
I can't take all the credit for that, but I saw that with a big old cheese smile. I was like, look what she did. Look what she did.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So for those that may have missed that first time we spoke in January, we got to recap this for them because they may be like, what they cackling and laughing about? What is a vision board? So can you just give us that overview of what is a vision board and like that overview of what it is and how to create one? Because I know for me, it was a struggle. I didn't get mine done right after we spoke. It took a minute. And I know somebody that's watching, she's still working on hers.
It's okay. It's all right. It's a safe space.
Yes.
So your vision board is just that. It's your board of your visions, of your goals, of your dreams. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical board. I like it to be a physical board. It can be a digital board. You can use your iPad. I've seen clients and past clients do vision books where they carry their book with them like a journal, but they paste clippings and affirmations and prayers and your vision board is so near and dear to who you are because it's who you're becoming. And I'm very mindful of telling people that you don't want to get this board and say, oh, I like this, or oh, this
Mhm.
is cute. You have to be very intentional about what you're creating
Mhm.
because your vision board is going to end up being your reality. And you want to make sure you're intentional with doing that. So, um, your vision boards is powerful. Shamika and I have had several conversations
Yes.
on just how powerful, the power of the tongue and the power of creativity and creating your vision is. And so, in short, your vision board is just that, your board of visions, your board of goals, and what you intend to do in this life.
Absolutely. It just made me think. I was kind of looking at my vision board. There's, how I think we spoke about it back then, back in
Mhm.
January, probably way before that too, because we used to work together, y'all.
Yes. Yes, we
But you got
did.
to be specific, I feel like, because all I did was put awards on here, right? You know
Yeah.
what happened? I thought in my brain, I'm going to win awards, but that's not what happened. When I went to an event, it was a film festival. I get there, the guy is like, I need you to present an award. I was like,
This
you're
isn't
not
what I
giving me
had
an
in
award?
mind.
Right, but in a different way it filled my cup because I got to present an award to a
Yeah.
mentor, right? So
Right. Right.
it wasn't quite what I envisioned, but it was still a powerful moment, and it was really
Yes.
because the person that was supposed to give the award didn't show up.
Wow. And so you got the opportunity based
Yes.
off of being intentional about what you want. And that's what it's about. When you're creating, this is why I tell people if I have any clients that are watching right now, they know I preach this every single week. When you are creating your vision board, you have got to be specific. It's almost like sitting down at a restaurant and asking the waitress to just bring you whatever. When in
Hmm.
reality, you know that you don't just want whatever. You have
Right.
a specific palette of things that you want. Um, I also liking it to be like online ordering. When you're
Hmm.
shopping online, you have to be very specific so that they can bring you the correct things. They need to know what size, what color, what's your address? Are you in Greensboro? Are you in Raleigh? Are you in Brooklyn? So it you have to be that specific with your goal because we're that specific with less. So don't play about you. If you're going to
Exactly.
be specific. Yeah.
Exactly. You mentioned some of those things, and and you guys, you can go back and I guess you could just probably type in vision boards or look on the playlist because there's definitely the episode where we really got deep into creating the vision board. But
Yeah.
you and I spoke about even using Canva. And that's what I did. I used Canva and
Yes.
printed it out, got the poster board, printed it out.
I love
They
it.
they mailed it to me. So I said, let me slap it up on the wall. And I have it
I
on my
love
phone.
it.
So when I unlock my phone, it's right there every single day and on my computer. So I cannot miss looking at it. It's everywhere.
And see that be having your vision board be present. We're gonna get into all of that.
Yes.
We're gonna dive into all of this because I love that you took what we talked about in January and you have it with you and you have it visible. I
Hmm.
love that. I love it. That's
Well,
what
I
we
might
call
as well.
activating the vision board.
There you go. But I might as well tell you, I did not do the homework that you gave me.
Oh, Shamika. So that means you're gonna have to get double homework. You're gonna
I
have
guess.
all these people watch you get double homework. That's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
It was like, my brain was in overdrive because I had to put this together and then I didn't have any juice left to write. So we'll come back to that. But so a
We'll
lot
come
of
back.
people, because it leads into my question, a lot of people just stop at creating the vision board. Why do you think that happens? Like they spend the time either cutting pictures out of a magazine, or I was
Mhm.
sitting there, I even got the pro version of Canva to find some good pictures. And and then it's like some people are like, yes, I'm going to do it, or they finally get it together, and then that's it. They may not even look at it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. I think a lot of people forget that there's work tied to the board.
Mhm.
Faith without works is dead, right? And so we have to remember that just making the board doesn't make the vision real. There's work behind it. Um, Essentially, what the vision board does, we talked about activating the vision board, right?
Mhm.
Activating the vision board or activating the vision itself is about creating space to be inspired,
Mhm.
creating space to be motivated. And so when you create the board, number one, you have to ask yourself a couple of questions. And we talked about this a little bit in January. Is this the real vision that you have for yourself, or is this vision tethered to someone else's dream for you? It's very important. The thing about a vision board is that you want to make sure that when you're thinking about the life that you want to create, the motivation and inspiration that you receive from the board when you look at it, when
Mhm.
you look at the pictures and the words that are placed on this board, it should inspire you to action. And so a lot of people get tripped up about how to actually bring the vision board to life, because when we talk about the inspiration piece, when we talk about the motivation piece, there's a time management aspect that goes along with that that a lot of people haven't mastered. And, truth be told, life can life, right?
Right. Yeah.
But we have to make sure that our day to day routine looks identical to the vision that you want to create. We talked about last time making sure that if you know that your vision board is heavily fitness oriented, your schedule needs to be looking fitness oriented. If
Mhm.
your board is tailored to your career and starting that new business, your schedule should look like your career and starting your new business. And I think where we get tripped up is that we don't pencil in time for ourselves. I think hustle culture will have us feel like we have to grind and don't get any sleep.
Mhm.
And yes, that's a part of it, but rest is also a part of the process as well. And so being able to sit down, slow down, and write down, okay, I know that I need to start this business. I need to start writing my mission and vision. I need to start calling contacts. I need to all
Mhm.
of these things have to be scheduled in. And if we're just giving ourselves scraps, what does that say about the goal that you're trying to create in tandem? It's telling you that, my dream is second nature, or the life that I want to live, or the visions that I have,
Mhm.
I'll get to it when I get to it. When in actuality, you have to make it top priority. Another thing that happens when we're not making the vision top priority is a lot of people don't take stock that sometimes we're tethered to an old vision. And that's okay. As humans, we're supposed to evolve. As
Mhm.
as people, we're supposed to evolve. If you're not growing, you're dead. And so you have to think about, is this something that still speaks to me? Is this something that speaks to every crevice of who I want to be? And if not, why is that so? If not, what is it that's going to get me reinvigorated and tethered to the goal and the dream? And so I think when we lay the foundation of the vision ain't gonna make itself. In January, it's all well and good. The board
Right.
dropped. We like, oh my God, 2025, I'm gonna be alive. 2026 is lit. Whatever. 2027, it's up in heaven, whatever.
Right.
But there's work behind that. And we
Mhm.
cannot lose sight of that, because if we don't work, we don't play. You gotta play, pray. What is it? You gotta pay to play,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so you have to be able to understand what that's gonna look like for yourself. But we don't slow down enough to ask ourselves those questions. And so we have to, that's also a part of the process.
So this brings to mind what something that we have talked a lot about over the past year on Soulibration is that self-care, self-love, and putting
Yeah.
yourself first. I think it was Doc Brown, Dr. Adolph Doc Brown was
Hmm.
on here. I think it was on the relationship panel that we had last month. And when he was just on here, gosh, I can't remember. Oh, Valentine's Day, yes.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
question he asked was, if you were to make a list of all the things that that matter to you, are you putting yourself number one on that list?
Hmm. Yeah.
And when he asked me that on Valentine's Day, the answer was no, I got this to do.
Right.
And like, these are the things that matter. But when he asked it last month, I was like, yeah, because now I've made time to work on
Yes.
the goals and the visions because I'm going to get me a husband, Erica. Do you hear me?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I know you are. And we gonna run this clip back when it's time. I believe it.
That's right. But so with that being said, how do you think that plays a role in putting like activating the vision, like making sure
Yeah.
that you're pouring into yourself? Because sometimes we keep pouring into others so much that cup starts to spill over and you get overwhelmed and you're like, well, I don't have time to work
Yep.
on this stuff.
Right. Right. Self-care is everything. And I know it's become cliche, especially, you know, COVID, that was like a buzzword and everybody used it. And it's like, you
Mhm.
know what? I'm taking care of myself, self care, I'm meditating, I'm doing all of the things. But self-care looks differently for everyone. It's not cookie cutter. It's not going to be, what self-care to me is not going to be self-care to you because we're two different people. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so there's a reason why self-care is tethered to so many different things, because if you're working on your mind and your body and your spirit, it's easy, it will come as second nature for you to work on your goals and to work on your visions and your physical life and your emotional and spiritual life. um but self-care is everything. In fact, that's one of the questions I ask in my consultations is, what is your self-care? I don't care if they're coming to me for career coaching. I don't care if they're coming to me for life coaching, holistic life coaching, whatever that looks like. I'm asking, what does your self care routine look like?
Mhm.
I want you to think of the different circles of influence of your life. Like there is your spiritual life, there is your physical life, and that could be like your health and like going to the doctor and going to work out in the gym. And then there's your professional life, and then there's your social life, and there's your love life, right? All of these different buckets require work.
Oh
But
yeah.
if all those different buckets require work and you're at the center of it all and you're neglecting you, how well are you going to be able to pour into these different circles of your life?
Mhm.
You can't be the sister or the mother or the daughter that you need to be. You can't be the entrepreneur that you need to be. You can't be, the person that's physically fit, going to the gym, all of that, because when you're not working on you, your health declines, your mental health declines, your
Mhm.
spiritual health declines. And so we have to think about getting back to the basics when it comes to our goals. This isn't some type of um out of outer body experience where it's just like, you know what? These are the things that I want, and I want this type of life, and I want self-care and all of these things, and it's just going to come to me. Work is involved. But when
Mhm.
we talked about earlier that rest is part of the process, we don't stop to think that self-care is embedded in that rest as well. Are you
Yeah.
getting enough sleep? When was the last time you went to the doctor? When was
Mhm.
the last time you took some time and took a walk to clear your mind? How are your stress levels, your cortisol levels? Have you gotten your lab work done in the last year? Like these are all
Mhm.
elements of self care that's going to bring you back to how vigorously you are working towards your goal. And if you're not working on yourself, just like a car, when those engine lights come on, I don't know
Mhm.
who I'm talking to, somebody engine light is on right now.
Yes.
When your engine light comes on, you break down. You break
Mhm.
down. You get sick, you get the flu, you get pneumonia, you get all of these things. And then you wonder why am I tired?
Yeah.
Why can't I muster up the strength to do these things that I put on my board? It's because
Mhm.
you put 5,000 things on that board and you ain't put 5,000 things into you. That's a
That's right.
problem.
Mhm.
So we have to consider putting ourselves as the nucleus of all of the things that we require out of life. Because if we're not pouring back into ourselves, it's impossible for us to pour into our goals. It doesn't work. So yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. All right. I want to know in the chat, did you get your vision board and what have you shown? Like, let me know, what have you done since you created that vision board? So speaking of that, Erica, what's the first thing that someone should do after they put that vision board together? Now what? What's
Mhm.
the next step? Take us through actually the next couple steps.
You pray. That's you seal it in.
Mhm.
Whoever you pray to, whatever you pray to, whether you do affirmations and you seal affirmations, it needs to feel right spiritually. It needs to align. It needs to feel right emotionally. Everything needs to be in alignment. You have to step back, look at your board and say, does this feel right? Does this look manageable for where I am in my life? Does this look like, is it smart? Is it specific and measurable? Is it achievable? Is it like all of these things you have to think, does this mirror where I want to go?
Mhm.
If the answer is yes, once you move from yes, this is in alignment with what I'm trying to do, this is where I want to go, you then move into the planning phase. The planning phase looks like, what can I do this week
Mm.
that could help me prepare for said goals? And so you break your goals down. I
Okay.
always tell people, you remember MySpace when it had its top eight?
Yes.
If you were in somebody's top eight, baby, you made it.
Right,
Baby, you
exactly.
made it. So you need to look at your vision board and say, even if you just take the top three, what top three goals are my top priority? And you number them one, two, and three. Your top priority, your number one priority gets the most immediate attention. For some people, it's like, you know what? I got to schedule all my doctor's appointments. I need to start getting my health back in order.
Mhm.
Anybody on some type of fitness journey, and I'm also speaking from, I'm speaking from a place of, this is where I currently am with my physical health. Making sure that you go to your doctor, get your labs done, talk to your doctor about what it is that you're looking to do with your health goal, and then break it down from there. So if it's your physical health, maybe it's your financial health, you spend your time there. You have to address, what is the issue, if there
Mhm.
is one. You got to ask yourself, what is it, right? What is
Mhm.
it that we're striving for? If you're striving for financial stability, you want to make sure that you're seeking financial advisors.
Yeah.
I need to go to my bank. I need to talk to my banker and let them know what my financial goals are, get my budget together. So once you look at your vision board and you have your top three goals, you start to build a schedule for yourself that's going to look like to-do lists, but you
Mhm.
have to put a time to it. I know for some of us, if you work in your 9 to 5 or you have clients and you're working your business, we have set things and appointments, meetings, and
Yeah.
things that we have to do. But you have to be willing to squeeze in that time to say, oh, I've got 10 minutes. I can call my doctor. I've got 20 minutes. I can work on my logo. I've got, a half an hour. I can go for a walk or whatever that looks like. But you have to take inventory of what your goals are and hit the priority list. After you've done that time management,
Mhm.
every week you should be asking yourself, what from this vision board, what from my to do list needs to go into my time management schedule for the week? You should be doing that weekly.
Mhm.
If not every week, maybe it's every other week. Maybe you plan out 2 weeks. I don't suggest planning out your month unless you're a beast at time management, because it can feel overwhelming.
I'm like,
Look, it can feel overwhelmed because you want to make sure that you're setting something where you can celebrate yourself throughout the process. Maybe
yeah.
you say, I'm going to take these 3 days and I'm going to kill it for these 3 days. And then I'm
Mhm.
going to celebrate my wins and I'm going to tweak after that. But if you're not breaking your vision board down, you're doing yourself and most importantly, doing your goals a disservice.
Let's go back to that what you just said. Celebrate your wins.
Hmm.
I have heard like several of my circle say that before. And it was
Hmm.
like, wait, none of us doing it. But we're keeping each other accountable. Like, if I say, oh, like this, oh, 1 year anniversary, they're like, okay, well, let's like what you gonna do to celebrate? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just was telling you, So it's like, how do we celebrate those wins? Is say let's just use the example of the award thing that I got to give away, like
Yeah.
present, and that was literally, I was nervous, excited, because it was one of those things. I didn't have a speech prepared. And he said, "You're going to go on stage in 5 minutes."
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
"Give me 2 to go up there and like sit somewhere, write something down right quick, some
Yeah.
notes." And then boom. And then it was like, I just felt so like happy, at peace, all the things.
Yeah.
But I was like, now how do I celebrate something like that? How do I celebrate this win of, while it wasn't the what I expected, but to me it was
Yeah.
still a win. So how, like for others that may have that situation, how do we celebrate those things?
I want to just let me celebrate you in this moment.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to celebrate you in this moment. I think we don't give ourselves enough credit about what or how we define things,
Yes.
right? When we think of celebration, all types of things come to mind.
Hmm.
But what you did in that moment was you said, I felt so happy and I felt so grateful. And that was your celebration. And
Okay.
I'm going to even say to you in this moment, right now, even me being on the show on the 1 year anniversary, the celebration for the
There
celebration,
you go.
we are celebrating in this moment.
Hmm.
We are doing the thing that you were given, right?
Yeah.
Over a year ago to say,
Mhm.
this is how I want to use my gift. Baby, we're celebrating right now. And
Yes.
so when it comes to celebrating your wins, we have to define what celebrating your win looks like for you. For
Hmm.
some people, it's solitude. I want a moment of silence and pour a glass of wine, or hey, I'm going to take myself on a self care trip, or
Hmm.
I'm going to go for a walk. It doesn't have to be grandiose, but it does have to be intentional. And so I think when we think of what it takes to win in this life can be hard,
Absolutely.
but it's a part of the human experience. Life can be tough. It throws us things that knocks us off of of our goals and off track. But when we're doing life right and we can stop to celebrate in the midst of whatever, we don't allow
Hmm.
social media, we don't allow other people and how they choose to celebrate themselves to dictate how we celebrate us and what we choose to do for us and our goals. So, what I will say is, first thing is you have to define what your celebration looks like and
Hmm.
honor it and keep it. If I say, you know what, for me, I'm going to honor myself in making sure that I'm working out 3 to 5 times a week.
Hmm.
And if I honor that commitment for 1 week, maybe I honor myself with rest. Hey, you hit your goal.
Yeah.
Take a nap.
Hmm.
Hey, you hit your goal. Take a day off today. You did 3 days, you did 5 days. These next 2 days is for me. But
Yeah.
once we define how we celebrate us in the process, we just have to commit to doing the work so that we can curate space for us to celebrate us throughout the process. And so for you, celebrating you is just honoring who you are and what you wanted to share with the world, which is celebration.
That's right.
And
That's
we
right.
thank you for it. I thank you for it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I do see
Yes.
some comments. I see Carrie Graham. And this is her, that she always says this. Well, what are you going to do to celebrate? Because that's exactly what she just typed. And she said, "What's reasonable and actionable?" And then she also says, "Acknowledgement is a form of celebration, and
Yes.
that solitude sounds like a fulfilling celebration." So thank you for that, Erica. And I was just thinking,
Yes.
I took a nap before this, and I was that's how I celebrated.
You better get them sleep lines. I know that's right, Shamika. Take you a nap, girl. You
Right.
earned it.
So you mentioned sometimes, like, our motivation can get knocked off. But what about when life be life, and those random things pop
Girl.
up? especially the world is kind of rocky right now, but when it's something that you don't expect that knocks you off your feet and you're looking at this vision board, or like, for example, I'm looking at mine and say I have like a trip that I want to take, or this
Mm-hmm.
house I want to purchase.
Yeah.
Um, and let me see what else. Yeah, we'll do vacation in a house. But then say you, for example, if someone has that on their vision board, they lose their job, or
Yeah.
their money has to go to fix their car repair or hospital bills, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How do they get motivated to get back on the horse? Or what do they do? Because now things have pivoted and now
Yeah.
it feels like things aren't so easy to reach.
We're human, and one thing life gonna do is life. Okay, a
Yes.
life is gonna life. However, I always tell people you're equipped right now in this moment with everything that you need. Even if you don't feel like you have everything you have everything you need.
Mhm.
What I want people to understand is because there are people that have had things, they created these vision boards in January, and then so much life has happened.
Mhm.
Number one, delay does not mean denial. And that's
Amen.
become a cliche verbiage to use when things don't work out. But if you really just take the time to break it down, you say, I'm not denying, I'm not being denied of what I want. The process is a little delayed, but I'm not being denied of what it is that I set out to create for myself. And when you really let that verbiage settle in your spirit, delayed, not denied.
Mhm.
You think about the fact that it's like, I didn't say that it wouldn't happen or it couldn't happen, but then you're understanding it's not now. Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's not now, what is it that I need in this moment beyond the tangible things? If you lost your job, you're saying, right now, I may need a job.
Mhm.
But maybe you need to rest. Maybe your mindset needs to be tweaked in some type of way. Maybe you need to build your mental stamina. Maybe there are so many different things, and it's hard in the moment to think about that. And let's
Right.
be clear, it's important for you to take the time to sit in that. My therapist has told me years ago, feel, deal, heal. You got
Mm.
to feel it. You got to
Mhm.
sit in that, whatever that is, disappointment, hurt, pain, anger, grief. You got to sit in that
Yeah.
and you got to deal with it, whatever that looks like, because it's going to stare you in the face.
Mhm.
Healing is on the other side of the mend. Now, healing is a process that doesn't require us to ignite it. When we get cut, the healing process happens almost instantaneously.
Mhm.
Even when it's still bleeding, it's starting the healing process. And so I think for us, we have to understand that life is a process. We're not going to get the microwave goal. In fact, if someone comes to you about saying, you know what, all your goals can come to life right now, 30 seconds, what you gonna do? I would advise you to run for the hills because there is beauty in the process. And we can't become such a microwave society that we want things right now that we miss the true blessing of what this does, which is the growth. Your vision board is going to grow you.
Mhm.
You don't want to be who you are now when these goals come to fruition because if you rush it, you'll ruin it. Baby, I don't want nobody to bring me no cake that's like, you know what? It needs about 30 more minutes, but it's just about done. You don't want to just about go.
Mhm.
You don't want to just about type because it's not appetizing. It looks
Yeah.
great on the outside, it ain't
Mhm.
done on the inside. And that's what it's going to look like if you continue to be put in a space where you microwave your goals. You look great on the outside. You look put together and
Mhm.
rich and wealthy and abundant and knowledgeable, but on the inside you're not ready. You're not curating solid time management skills to sustain
Yeah.
all of the things that are on your plate. You
Mhm.
don't have good financial management skills to handle all of the abundance that's being put on your plate. You just closed on a house and you can't even furnish it. You have to think about Not only do I want to be physically in reality ready, but I want to be spiritually, mentally, emotionally ready so that I can sustain the goal. So there's power in the process, but delay does not mean deny.
That is a great reminder because I do think sometimes we put these vision boards together and we expect this is going to happen the same year that I put this together. And I'm going
Yeah.
to use Soulibration as an example.
Yeah.
2017, I thought, you know what? Soulibration.
Wow.
Did nothing with it. Did not a thing with it.
No sides, no juice, no nothing.
Not a thing. But the name, just stick it in the pocket. It was just always kind
Yeah.
of the back of my mind. I had it actually sitting somewhere. And then fast forward to, let's see, 2024. What do we have? Celebration. See, it took a
That's
while.
powerful.
You know, as Glorilla said, let her cook. It had to cook because it
You
wasn't ready
better
yet.
speak, Sister Glorilla. You better let her cook.
Sister Deaconess
You,
Glorilla said,
you better
let her
speak.
cook. Let her cook.
No, but I mean, sometimes we don't even understand why things don't work out right then. And it's
Yeah.
not for us to understand sometimes. It's just like we put out a vision and we have a vision for ourselves, right? But it's a very limited view. You
Mhm.
know, your view is based off of the experiences and the wisdom and the know-how that you have in this moment. But we keep forgetting that we evolve. And so your 2017 self and your 2024 self are two vastly different women.
Yeah.
And so in order for it to sustain, 2024 was like, no, you have everything that you need to
Mhm.
not only push this forward, but to sustain the vision and to grow it and to have community around Soulibration. So yeah, it's evolution in its rarest form. And
Yeah.
that's perfect the way that you put it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, when you mentioned sometimes we may not be ready on the inside, let's talk about that mindset. So, as we, you know, we're talking about strategy for those that are just tuning in. We got a few more minutes. So if you do have questions, make sure you drop those in the chat. But
Yeah.
what can we do to work on that mindset so that we are, you know, that we feel worthy of these things that we want, that we feel like we deserve them? Because, you know, everybody has, you know, gone through some stuff. They may have some trauma. They may
Yeah.
have had experiences that tells them otherwise, like this ain't gonna happen, but I'm gonna slap it on this board anyway. And then
Yeah.
you get into this, what do I say? This, I call it a spiral. You get into this spiral
Mm-hmm.
of negative thinking, or you know, one person can ruin you may let that one person just ruin all the things that you thought that you were gonna get. You might think, oh well, they said it ain't gonna happen, so it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
How do we
Right.
get out of how do we fix that mindset? What is the trick to that?
So for one, we have to be mindful of the energy that we allow access us.
Mhm.
There's just no other way to put it.
Yeah.
What is your circle of influence? Who's speaking life into you when maybe your faith hasn't caught up, when your mindset isn't quite there? Your circle of influence or your board of directors or your whatever you want to call it, these are the people that are going to be speaking life into you when you feel like the goal is a little bit bigger than you. When you're like, how on earth am I going to make this happen for myself with my limited resources or my limited knowledge or what have you? So you want to be mindful and take inventory of those people that are telling you that you can't. You
Yeah.
have to think about who are those people that are saying, you know what, I have a connection. I know a guy. I
Mhm.
know a woman. I know someone. I know this group. I'm going to give you this number. I'm going to give you this resource. So you want to take inventory of those people. Number two, you want to build in time to work on your mindset. I'm huge, 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 huge advocate and a huge fan of affirmations.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of affirmations. Some people you quote scriptures and that also can help build your affirmations.
Yeah.
What are you speaking over yourself? What are you listening to? I call it guarding your gates. What are you
Mhm.
listening to? What are you watching? What are you saying? These are the things that are going to help you build your mindset and really transform it. It's just like going to the gym. When you're speaking into yourself, it helps your mindset muscle. When you go to the gym, it helps your physical muscle. You're building it up. You do it daily. You do it often. You do it weekly so that you're building that muscle up. Speaking life into yourself is the very same.
Mhm.
I'm speaking these things over myself because I take me everywhere. And so the things that I profess with my mouth then become my lifestyle. So you
Mhm.
have to be mindful of what you're watching. I'm going to tell you how powerful it is. And if she ever watches this clip, she did something with this. The other day, um, I just had it in my mind. I was like, I am not going to the gym. I'm tired. I'm not going. I'm laying it down. So my good friend, she don't know me, I don't know her, but Flippa T, if you watching, Flippa T has a song called Affirmations, and it came on while I was,
Mhm.
just gathering my stuff, getting myself ready. These affirmations just busting through the speakers. I was like, I'm going to the gym. I'm
Mhm.
going to the gym. My husband was like, I thought we wasn't going to the gym. Get your bag. We going to the gym.
Mhm.
Right? Because sometimes it just takes that extra oomph, that extra
Yeah.
something to get you where you need to be so that you can focus on the goal at hand. And
Mhm.
so when it comes to your mindset, this is going to have to be a daily practice.
Yeah. Mhm.
You day to day, minute to minute some days, but you have to work on you and ask yourself the one question. Any of my clients that are watching, they know that I ask this, how bad do you want it? Because if you
Mm.
don't want it that bad, then you don't need it that bad. It's
Mhm.
okay. But if you want it real bad, you got some work to do. And if you're not willing to work on it, that's not really your goal. Because your goal is supposed to be something that evokes action, that evokes inspiration and motivation, which is why back in January, if you remember, we were
Mhm.
talking about where do you put the vision board after you create it?
That's
What do
right.
you do with it? Where
Mhm.
does it go? Some people got their vision board behind the TV. Some people got their vision board in the closet.
Mhm.
But you can't, it's not activating emotion in there. You can't see it. You
Yeah.
can't connect to it. You can't attach to it because you got it. If that's how you feel about your goal and your vision, you
Mhm.
got to rethink things. So you have to dig that thing out. You have to look it over. You have to analyze and research it. Does
Mhm.
this still resonate with me? And if the answers are yes across the board, you need to have your vision board out. You need to have it somewhere close where every day you can look at it. Give yourself a mantra. Give yourself a positive word that you can say anytime you look at it.
Mhm.
It used to be, and Shamika, you remember this, there was a car that I had to have. There was a car, and I told you, I said, Shamika, and it wasn't even nothing crazy, y'all. It wasn't even
Right.
nothing crazy. But I said, I have to have it. It was named like the car of the year one year. I think it was 2020. It was like the car of the year. And
Mhm.
I was like, I've got to have it.
Yes. I do remember this.
And so every time I saw the car, and it's almost like once I said it to you and I professed it with my mouth, I saw it everywhere. And
Mhm.
so I started to play the game that we used to play when we were little. That's my car. That's my car. That's my car. That's my car. And so as I started like really talking about this car,
Mhm.
and Shamika and I have always talked about manifestation and the power of manifestation and all of the things, right? And so one day I'm sitting, I think I was just parked in front of the store. I think I was waiting for my husband and my kids to come out of the store. And the car comes up right behind me. And I remember I took a picture of it and I sent it to you,
You
Shamika.
did.
And I was
You
like,
did.
it's literally following me everywhere I go. Fast forward, man, I would say maybe like 2 years later, I got the car. And I'm
Mhm.
talking brand spanking new. Nobody had it. Nobody. It was my first unused car. And I said to myself, if it had not been for my mindset,
Mm-hmm.
If it had, because remember, this was 2020, won't nobody buying nothing.
Right. Not a
All we was
thing.
buying was toilet tissue and sanitizer. Okay, that was it. We ain't
Exactly.
going on no trips. We was locked down, so we won't buy nothing. But if it wasn't for my mindset, and it had nothing to do with the car, it's materialistic, right? But
Hmm.
it had everything to do with where I was in my life
Yeah.
and what I needed in my life. I needed options. I needed elevation. I needed other pieces of this puzzle, but this car was like a microcosm of all of the things that I've ever wanted on this vision board are working together for me. And so when you're able to get that vision board in a space where you're looking at it every day and you speak
Hmm.
kindly to yourself and your vision, you're helping it come to fruition. And this ain't nothing like, you just gonna put it on this board and it's gonna pop up.
Right. Right.
It evokes, it evokes some type of energy so that you can go out and gravitate and work and hustle for what it is that you truly want. That's it. That's all
Yeah.
you're doing. But if
Hmm.
I told you that your mindset was the only thing that was keeping you from said thing, what would you do differently? What would you do differently?
Hmm.
That's for you. That's for anybody watching in the chat. I'm asking a question now. If I told you that mindset was the only thing that was keeping you from the things that you are creating for yourself, what would you do differently today?
Yeah.
Drop it
Drop.
in the chat.
Yeah. Please do. Please do. And all I'm like trying to contain myself because the my soul and my celebration wants to say the Flippa T song so bad. Hype me up.
Hype me up. I love Flipper T now. When you really listen to, I was like, this girl is genius. Shout out
yeah,
to Flipper T.
yeah. Shout out Flippa T, Deaconess Flippa T. We got all the,
Deacon.
we got them all here. Carrie says she would stop stressing. That's what she would have need to do. Stop
Yes.
stressing. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, that's a
Thank
good one.
you.
That's a good one.
Stop
Wow.
stressing.
Yeah. So I know we're about to run out of time, but I did want to bring up the homework you gave me the last time. It was a pray rain journal, which was
Yes.
to complement the vision board. And I got a notebook. I did.
Okay.
Wrote
That's
my
a
name in
step.
it. Wrote my name in it.
Okay. We cooking. We cooking. I gotta let you cook.
Yeah, let her cook. That's as far as I got.
Okay. Okay. For people that are watching and maybe you didn't tune in to
Mhm.
January's episode, a pray rain journal is a journal where you write your goals and dreams in the present tense. And it's going to feel a little funny at
Yeah.
first. It's going to feel like you lying. It's going to feel like you just writing a bunch of lies, fairy
Yeah.
tales, and fallacies.
Delulu.
And this, yeah, it's like, yeah, you are absolute delulu. But I want you to stick with it. So, what this would look like is like for today, for example, you're going to take a goal that's on your vision board, and you are going to say something to the effect of, "Wow, I'm so grateful that I was able to seal the deal today. I signed 7 contracts with my new business. One that was a 6-figure contract. Thank you. I'm so grateful." Fill in the blank, right? It's gonna feel like what are you writing right now, and
Right.
what's happening. But what you're doing is you're training yourself to think, if this was a day in my new life, this is what it would look like. If you want to take it a step further, which I'm starting to see a lot of people on social media, TikTok, Instagram, do this. If you feeling froggy, give Chat GPT a little run for its money.
Yes.
There
Now
are
I've done that.
prompts.
I will say I've done that.
There are prompts where you can ask Chat, or you can put something to the effect of, Chat, I am looking to have 7-figure salary, working in fill in the blank field. I want to do real estate, this, that, and the third. Whatever your goals and dreams are, you would ask chat, give me a day in the life of
Mhm.
what my life would look like
Yeah.
when this comes to pass. And mind you, I'm being very particular and mindful of my words. Notice I said when and not
Hmm.
if, because you have to be very, very intentional about what it is that you're looking to do. And all of this is about mindset, is retraining your mind.
Hmm.
When you say things like when, like instead of if, it does something major. But when you put that in chat GPT, the things that it spits out is eerily scary,
It
but
is.
highly inspirational. Okay.
Hmm.
The things that it will tell you about the day in your life based off of your goals, your dreams, your hopes, your visions, it gets down to the nitty gritty.
It does.
And it evokes the most beautiful motivation that you could ever find. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes um, AI is very scary to me
Hmm.
because of how accurate it is. But when we're talking about in terms of retraining our mindset, it's giving you a peek of what could be. And so with your pray rain journal, that's essentially what you're doing. Is you're giving yourself a sneak peek of what life could and should look like
Hmm.
if you go forth with your vision.
This sounds like we need to do another episode just on that specifically, because I feel like
Yes.
people will have questions. So we'll have to table that one and come back to that one for a whole episode on that, because I think that one we could dig deep into that one.
Oh,
Um,
we would.
yeah, yeah. This has been so. I'm so glad you could come tonight.
Me too. Thank you for having me tonight. It is my pleasure. I love hanging out on Soulibration. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank
You
you.
have no idea how many people are getting closer to who it is that they truly want to be because of Celebration. And so, what better
Oh,
celebration than to just be here on the 1 year anniversary and just say thank you,
oh,
Shamika, for creating space for us.
oh, I'm going to take a moment and celebrate that. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
love that.
Yeah. So I do have to ask though. I tried to switch it up because I asked you this question in January. So I thought, well, let me switch it up since it's
Okay.
anniversary. So as we're celebrating today,
Yeah.
do you have a favorite episode of Celebration that fed your soul?
Ooh, Ananda Lewis. Without even, I loved her growing up.
Hmm.
Oh my God, loved her, loved her. But the way that she speaks about caring for herself
Yeah.
and her journey, it was so beautiful to hear her talk about what steps she's taking to take care of herself. But I've always loved Ananda. Her spirit is just out of this world. Like
Yeah.
I That's a soul sister for me. So that would be my favorite episode of Celebration.
I love to hear that. And I know that a lot of people were impacted by that
Yeah.
particular episode. So I'm so glad that it reached you as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So Ananda, I love you. You're the best. I was locked and loaded in that episode, but yeah, that was my favorite.
Okay. Thank you for tuning into that one, because that one was a great one, actually. Let
Mhm.
everybody know where they can find you and on social media or your website, or where can they find
Yes.
Coach Erika?
You can find me on Instagram at I am her life coach. You can find me there, or you can find me on my website, www.herlifecoaching.com. If you have questions about how can I create the life that I want to live with my vision board, please do so. If you have career questions, I've been doing a lot more career coaching lately, just because of how things have gone this year. Reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. We'll get a consultation on the books. We'll talk about what your goals is, what it is that you want to do, what is it that you feel like you want to manifest in your life, and we'll work together to make that happen. So that's where you can find.
Y'all can put that as part of your actionable steps about that vision board we just talked about. There you
And
go.
I give homework.
She
So
does.
Shamika, you're getting double.
Thank you again, Erika, for
No
coming on
problem.
Soulibration. You guys, for more information about like setting goals, mindset, even because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, all those things, you can head over to blackdoctor.org for articles and resources. And coming up on Soulibration, Ishi from the Grammy Award winning group Arrested Development is joining us. She's going to be opening up about her breast cancer journey and how she cares for her mental health through music, movement, and mindfulness. So I am super excited that she's going to be joining us. It's going to be a powerful conversation. So you want to make sure you come back next Wednesday. So I hope all of you have a soul-filled rest of the week, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you again, Erika. Have a great night.